Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to another game review. This time a sort of a spin-off from Gamma World. You could look at it as a separate game or as an expansion to 4th edition Gamma World. And you can tell by the little weird eyeball logo thing there. I almost wasn't sure, but then I saw that and I'm like, 4th edition. This is a game more or less of, I want to say almost mecha, but armored combat versus gladiator, knight type character or units in the obvious far future after some great apocalypse. The apocalypse itself is really irrelevant. It just know that, many, many years from now, when we've perfected advanced AI and robots and hover tanks and things like that, and then comes the apocalypse, the remnants of those technologies in the hands of adventurers or villains or nations will then do combat amongst the ashes and ruins of what was once a future Earth. So let's pop this open. It was, I believe, printed in 1992, and while I only got to play this a little bit, it was a lot of fun as a standalone game, and even more so, in my personal opinion, as an addition to Gamma World. As a matter of fact, I will be using a lot of this information in my Gamma World game, although I'll probably not be running a 4th edition, but probably a 2nd edition Gamma World, because it's the simpler version, and for an online game, I just felt that would be just a lot easier for new players and old players alike. I'm going to go over Gamma World 4th edition, but to be honest, I haven't finished reading it because it's a PDF, and I'm usually using my tablet to read and watch other things, mostly listen to while I'm reading other books. I'm reading a really good book right now that I cannot wait to review. But it comes with, and I believe these are the correct dice, 4 10-sided dice, basically, for a percentile dice system. These are the little plastic standy holders that we'll go into in just a moment. It comes with 2 basic printed rule books. So that was upside down. I thought so. I wish they would have given these better covers so they would have withstood the test of time. Let's show one at a time. I'm not sure which one this is. This is the battle book, and this is the Knights of Gamma Terra. Like I said, they really deserved a much better cover, but if you go back and look at the cover art of the box set, it's really, really, really nice work, and it really, portrays the mood of the game, as it should, pretty concisely. It also comes with this, I want to almost call it a screen, but it's more like just 2 separate combat charts. Flip it over so you can see. And down at the bottom it has some identifying token markers, so you can get the sort of profile that like a lot of other games use, for silhouette acquisition, targeting, and that sort of thing. And then it comes with several sheets of counters. These are the standees where you cut them so that they fold in half at the top, and then you put them in the little plastic holders, and you can use them kind of like miniatures, because there never really was much of a line of miniatures for this game, which is a shame, because if you can look at some of the artwork there were some really cool looking Gamma Knights, gladiators, armored suits, what have you. Even these weird egg-shaped pods were actually quite devastating, and it was I kind of liked it because it gave you this really sort of almost alien feel to the AI intelligence therein, and gave you, something that the more primitive people could understand as, bad juju. Stay away from these things. They are monsters, just completely alien to, even the mutated humans and animals and plants of Gamma World. Excuse me there, folks. Really like these a lot. Then there's a huge chunk of counters. Not going to hold these out too long, just because that they're so tiny, the camera's not going to pick them up. But if you've played any SPI or Avalon Hill games, you're familiar with really tiny counters. Even Star Frontiers, which I'm going to go over real soon, actually. And there were a couple of I didn't even notice there was a 1992 winter catalog of TSR products, which nice little trip through the past, the TSR marketing department questionnaire. But then there was this nice map that's in, believe it or not, really, really good condition after all these years, that honestly could be used for a lot of other games, which I'm thinking I might pull this. I don't know if it's double-sided. That might go over well with Battletech or Epic Space Marines or several other games I could think of, including Gamma World and Traveler and Star Frontiers. The front side is much more four-color than the back side, and I'm just going to flip it over in just a second and get a good look at that as well. But I don't know why they didn't do the same on the front as they did on the back, or the back is the same as the front. It would have been nicer, but maybe they're running out of ink. But you can see it's almost a black and white map, and I really didn't like that. But the front map will definitely get quite a bit of use. Even though it is rather small, I think, one thing we often do when we're playing with maps like this, we'll flip them over, the facing, you're on this side or this side, and then switch it and turn it around. Let's see if I can fold it right. Yep. But we'll just use a half a map or just a quarter of a map, so that you can get as much use out of the map as possible. I really want to go through this little catalog, but I'm sure you guys can imagine what was in there, or go back in the past and look it up. Now, into the actual manuals themselves, the battle book, basically you got your rules here and some scenarios for different, battles. But it's mostly just a quick run through the rules, which is nice. It's only 16 pages and very minimal artwork in this book, just the logo at the top, the alien eyeball thing, whatever that I don't know, it was kind of like trying to, cash in on the beholder sort of motif that was one of the things, TSR was famous for. Then the Knights of Gamma Terra, this is where it goes into the actual different types of units and the different types of armor that characters are probably relatively familiar with if they've had any success in Gamma World. The sheath armor, the plastic armor, which is basically Stormtrooper armor. The powered plate armor, the powered alloy armor, the energized armor, I can't read that. The inertia armor with prototype jetpack, and as these armors get more advanced, they end up having force fields and lots more weapons and more equipment, better sensors, etc. You know, all kinds of bells and whistles. I really like this game for its slot ability, where you can plug in and pull out different pieces of technology and upgrade. Also, if they get damaged, it makes them easier to pull out battle armor and all kinds of things like that. The attack armor, which really reminds me of the shock troopers from the old Galactic game. Just the bulk of them. I really enjoyed that, and I really like this assault armor with more or less a tread system for movement. I think that would be honestly a much better way to build a armored fighting vehicle with arms, is to stick with the tracks. Even though there are some, disadvantages to it, the overall stability and steadiness of a tank or armored fighting vehicle like that, I just think is just the way to go. Putting it on two legs is just asking for it to fall over eventually. And more armor, and as they get more advanced, they start looking more and more alien. Then the fully AI attack machines, the death machine, the warbot, the battlebot, the devastator. They're just gigantic floating pods of death and destruction. Very similar to some of the earlier versions of Gamma World. I think I showed you the death machine in 2nd edition, and it was very much just a big floating platform of just destruction. Just really, really alien and weird looking, but at the same time, they didn't waste time with arms and things like that. It's got one purpose, and that's just to blow the crap out of things. And then here you have the stat blocks of the standard armor suits, kind of like a mini monster manual for this sort of game. But all really nice, simple black and white line art, which is some of my favorite type of art. With everything that's out there, these styles just really just give you everything you need while leaving plenty open to the imagination. You can picture it in different colors and different insignia and markings and things like that on it, and you don't get bogged down by oh, it's always green or it's always blue. No, it's whatever you want. I could see me as a youngster though actually coloring these in with colored pencils. I would have. If I didn't use a colored pencil, I would have used one of those, if you guys remember, the old Bic 4-color ballpoint pen. That was one of my favorite inventions of the 70s and 80s. I absolutely love those pens. And then I found out that there were other companies that put out other 4 colors, not just the blue, green, red, and black, but there were like purple and pink and things like that, and I just absolutely love those. I think at one time I had a ballpoint pen that had 32 different colors in it. It was like this big around. It was epic. I just love those pens, just because you can just click, okay, new color, click new color, click new color. Yeah, even my son is like amazed at such an invention, and I doubt I could find them, but I'm gonna actually go look around on Amazon maybe and see if I could find one of those, because I got him one of the 4-color pens. I know, Tangent, and he enjoyed the heck out of it. I even remember the commercial where they drew it in line art with just the 4 colors, and it was classic. If you guys remember those pens, give me a shout out just so we can reminisce on that. But one of my absolute favorite things about this game was the simplicity of the character sheet, with the actual blocks here. For you just basically put a counter on there to tell what piece of equipment, and then, you know, the actual effects of the equipment you could write down over here, I believe. The force field, hit point marker, special damage markers, etc. It made it really, really simple, easy to photocopy, and, you know, hand out a couple of them and just do battle with your buddies. You know, kind of like Armored Core style, or various other, you know, mecha robot, giant stompy robot combat games of the past and even the present, with BattleTech, you know, making a resurgence as it does every, you know, 5 to 10 years. This is definitely a blast from the past that could still use some love, and it's really not that expensive, just because for whatever reason it wasn't super popular. Maybe because the time it came out, had come out sooner, it probably would have taken the world by storm in a much greater fashion. My copy didn't get to see a lot of use, but rest assured it will in the coming years to come. I will definitely break it out from a Gamma World game, and you know, other games, maybe even Traveler or Star Frontiers. Although Traveler would take a bit of finagling the rules and the numbers and what have you, but for Star Frontiers and Gamma World and a lot of other games, it's a real simple conversion thing. But there you have it, folks. Gamma World, Gamma Knights. If you got, you know, 20, 30 bucks lying around and you want a quick, easy, giant stompy robot game, I would definitely recommend this, especially if you don't want to put money into miniatures, and, you know, you just want something for every once in a while to just, you get your fill and fix of Gamma Knights. This is a very fun game, very exciting game. I wish I had played it a lot more when I was younger, but my role-playing games just tended to just run all over the place, and no one game except for Dungeons and Dragons and Palladium ever really got the lion's share of playing. But there you have it, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed this trip down memory lane and discussion of big 4-color pens and all the other goodness that went along with this particular episode. If you guys played this game, give me a shout out and let me know what you thought of it, especially in reference to adding it to 4th edition Gamma World, which, like I said, I'm still reading the rules for Gamma World 4th edition, and I'm undecided whether I approve or disapprove of Gamma World 4th edition. Let's put it that way. But throwing this in the mix bumped it up a notch in the plus column. So, like I said, you know, give me a shout out. I'll see you guys later on this afternoon and this week. We got a very busy week ahead of us. Hope you guys are all enjoying your summer. And until next time, goodbye.